So I picked up an Akai Force a little while ago, and the main reason I wanted the Force was because I want to take my Ableton performances into a live environment, and I wanted to do that without a laptop. And so today I'm going to show you the entire process of going from a song in Ableton that I composed primarily with VSTs and plugins, encoding audio into loops, and then taking that live set file and putting it onto the Force. After that, I may perform through the song using the onboard vocal suite as well as the loops and aforementioned session that I create in this video. If you're into this sort of thing, please consider liking and subscribing. My name is Dylan Paris. I also have a Patreon that I announced in my last video, and I'm really excited about that. So if you do want to help me make these videos even better, no pressure at all, but if you're interested, Patreon's linked below. All right, let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna try and load up the song here. I wanted to record my screen, but OBS is being weird, so I'm just going to film it, and my apologies for that. So this is actually a cover of my favorite song of 2021 called In Another Life by The Killers. I kind of did my own thing with it. I build all my tracks in Ableton in Scenes View here, and so these are all different MIDI clips that I created. I believe I performed this on the Launch Key 49 Mark III from Novation, and then this is the final recorded audio, and so it ends up coming out like this. Is this life you chose yourself? Just how it ended all? Is that the art you pictured when? Okay, yeah, so what I'm gonna do next is a little cumbersome. So the first thing I'm going to do is save as, and I'm going to call this In Another Life cover for Video Force. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is destroy everything. No, but actually though, I'm going to delete all that, and hopefully that should not affect this data. It does not. And we're going to set up some audio tracks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 synthetic or VST instruments here. And so I'm creating 4 audio tracks, and they're going to come from specific places. So this will be 1, and we're going to rename this to Atmos Lead, because this is the atmospheric spirit sound, which I believe is a Ableton sound. Then we have a Jupe 8 from Arturia. So that will be this one, and we'll call this Jupe Bass. This is a juicy bass sound I'm very proud of. I kind of tweaked a basic preset. Got it where I wanted it and added some realm. I don't normally put reverb on my bass sounds, but I think it came out well. Next up, we have a Pigments kind of lead sound, and so we're going to take our audio from that for track 3, and we're going to rename this Pigments. And then lastly, we have Battery doing an extremely basic repetitive drum loop that if I were going to do a final version of this song, I would actually add some more layers to the drums. Battery. Cool. And the in for that will be Battery. So we're going to enable all these for recording, and I believe the way I do that is holding Shift. It was Control. So hold Control and select, and you'll arm those for recording. Okay, so I'm recording audio instead of freezing it, because when I freeze the audio, it was working super weird. Like it wouldn't load the tracks properly in the Force. And so I'm just going to record the raw audio here. So we do have to basically listen to the entire song. You don't have to, but I do, to record the entire thing into audio, and you'll see why we're doing this in a second. There we go. Audio's generating. Looking good. And I'm going to speed this up for you through the magic of editing. So while this process does its thing, the reason I'm recording all this audio is because I want the tails of each scene loop to properly flow into the next scene recording. There's, tracks that have reverb. There's tracks that have various effects that will bleed into the next scene. If I just record the loops into each other, into just the scenes view, without doing this, it'll cut off each tail. Now you have a few choices. You can instead of doing this, you could just do dry loops with no effects and have those loops then have effects on each channel in the force. It's not something I'm doing here because I really like how I tuned the effects on this, and this is better for me in this point. What you will see as a side effect is that if you repeat loops like this, if you repeat these loops once we finish this process, that you'll hear the tail again at the beginning. That still sounds better to me than not having any of this detail in the effects and having to add the effects later. Anyway, we're gonna cut ahead now. Yeah, listen to those tails there. Okay, great. So now we have the whole song played, right? One thing I'm gonna do is change this track color. Let's choose a palette. We'll choose this. All right, so now we have all this audio here, and we're gonna wanna cut it up into loops, essentially. And so we're gonna select this and hit Control E, and we're gonna do this for each section. So Control E is splitting these, right? And you'll see why we're doing this. It's probably already obvious, but essentially we're splitting these up because we're going to turn them into loopable sections in scene mode. Oh yeah, and the other thing we're gonna do now is mute all of the VST tracks. So now it's just perfect. And these are 8-bar sections, I believe. For almost all of these, I'm doing 8 bars. For the very end, I'm actually going to do a little bit more than that. And the reason for that is that I want it to be able to continue playing out, even if for whatever reason I forget to stop the song. I have a little bit of wiggle room in the performance. Well, one of the other things I'm going to do now that we have this is delete every other audio track real quick. Sorry, not audio track, but every other track in the song. And this is why we saved a separate version. So now the only tracks that exist are these audio tracks. Okay, so if I drag this, I should be able to drag it over here. Yes, perfect. And we're going to do this for every section one by one. It's a little arduous, but it's worth it. Okay, boom, and we can check our work here. Perfect. Okay, we'll keep going. Hit this to enable the timeline playback again. Not that we're actually playing back, I just don't want anything to get goofy. All right. And it's a little easy to see where we're at because this is highlighted, and obviously there's only as many, I want to say rows, right, as there are sections we've already done. So it's pretty hard to lose your place unless you click out of here, which is nice. And again, this all feels like arduous work, and believe me, I wish there was an easier way to do this and guarantee that you're going to get the right playback in the force. But the reason I'm doing all this is because the force does not support third-party VSTs, right? I mean, it's not a full-blown computer. It is a computer, right? But it's not running Windows. It's not running Mac OS. It's running some proprietary Akai OS on top of what is my best guess would be an ARM-based Linux kernel or Android kernel, probably Linux kernel. Someone can put in the comments exactly how it's running. It's not the biggest deal in the world for what we're doing right now, but it is the why we're doing what we're doing right now. So now we've got these, and the other thing I'm going to do here is select all of them and crop clips. So this is going to take a second. You can see it's writing the cropped sample. That's what that business is in the lower left. And now you can see it, right? It's just boom, 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 boom. All of these are now turning into cropped little samples. This is really important because now it's not referencing the entire song anymore. Each of these is its own individual loop. This is going to be important for playback later as well. Before I did this, I was getting really brutal clipping noises at the beginning of every loop. And the other thing we're going to do here, I believe it is in record, is create fades on clip edges. You want to make sure this is enabled. So yes, every clip has a tiny little fade on it, which stops it from popping. This is why we're doing all this, right? It's part of why we're doing all this. It's at least why we did the crop clip. All right, we'll do this in the force then. I think we have to turn the loop on per clip in the force. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments if there's a better way to do this, but we now basically have what we need. The only other thing I'm going to do here is delete all of that And so now it's just a scenes project with just these audio clips just rendered out how we wanted them to be. The first time I did this, I put the different names for the sections on the side here, but those did not load up in the Force. And so I don't think it's worth spending your time doing that. But you may end up wanting to color these by type. And actually that's something we should do right now, I think. So this is the chorus. So we're going to color the chorus. Every chorus will be purple. This is another chorus, sorry. So there we go. And this is, unlike the original song, I loop the second chorus twice for impact. This is our intro. No, that's kind of clashing, huh? Okay, there we go. This is verse 1, part 1. And this is the bridge between the chorus and the next verse. So now we have our little color system. This is a verse again, so we're going to take that color. So this is the outro. So I'm going to give it the intro color, which is actually that color. Okay, there you go. This is the whole song. And so now we're going to save it to the SD card. So we're going to first save live set as. We're going to go to Ableton Jams and make a new folder, and we're going to call it Ableton to Force Video. Great. And then in Ableton to Force Video, we're going to save this as in another live cover for video for Force. And we are going to do something here where we're going to collect all and save. We're going to save all files from everywhere into this folder. Boom. All right, so now we have a folder in my music folder, open in a new window. And this is called Ableton Video for Force. It's got the samples, which we actually just want the process samples, I believe, and we want them. Yeah, so the samples folder that the Force likes is called recorded. And so Control All. We're going to copy them. And we're going to go to samples recorded. And we're going to paste these. Boom. Getting used to the Windows 11 icons. Okay, and now we should be good. So we're going to take this whole folder, Akai Force Video, this thing right here, and we're going to put it right here. And this might be overkill. I might be doing something wrong. But I think this will get us everything we need. There's probably a cleaner way to do this if you're worried about storage on your card. This is a 256 gig SD card, and I bought the Force primarily to do this sort of thing, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, and now we will safely eject, and we're good. And we can close everything and take the card out. Okay, so we've got our SD card with the project, and we're going to put it in the Force and see what happens. Now we've got the SD card here, and we're going to just really smoothly and elegantly, with no difficulty at all, plug it into the Force and turn the Force on. Majestic. All right, give it a second. It is, not the fastest boy in the world to turn on, but that's okay. Wow, I could have phrased that any other way. All right, here we go. Now we will go to Load, Places, and I believe I put it in May 2020, Ableton to Force Video. If this all works well, this should just work. Oh, look at that. So we have our color coding that we designed. We have individual loops, and now let's see if they play. Okay, awesome. Okay, so right now, if I don't hit the next one, they will all just stop. So you can go through each loop, and there's got to be a better way to do this. But you can make them all loop, right? And yeah, if you know in the comments how to do this, like not one by one, you'd be my hero. So please put that in the comments. Okay, that's all of them looped. And I just know someone's going to be like, no, dude, you just select all of them in Ableton and hit Control L for loop or something. Like, if it's that easy, please, God, tell me. Okay, I'm fine just being an ignoramus. But I would love to never have to deal with this again. Okay, cool. So now everything is set to loop. And we have all of our baked in effects and everything trailing right. And that's why you hear the, which sounds kind of weird, right? But it's coming directly from the end of the loop prior. Okay, so the final step of this is to create a new, maybe I hold this one. Yeah, I'm totally good at the Force. I know how to use the Force. I'm Luke. All right, first person to ever make that joke. Now let's go to Mixer and Effects, and this is going to become the effects track the audio track I use for the vocals. So I'm actually gonna have to swap my mic out of my audio recorder and put it into the Force in a second, but I want to walk through the chain first. So we're going to use Para EQ, and we're going to basically eliminate the lows and lower the low mids, and that should do it. We're also going to add a vocal tuner, because one of the effects I use in the Ableton version is vocal tuning, like really fast auto tuning, and so we do want the retune time to be like really quick. And I don't know the scale off the top of my head because I'm not a musical genius. So I'm going to do it live, like test it out live, which means I need to stop recording my audio recorder really quick and put this microphone cable into the Akai Force, because the Force can handle direct mic input because it's amazing, and that's why I got it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do that really quick. Hello. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. You can hear me. Okay, cool. Sweet. Now this is coming through the Force, and yeah, so let's try something. Yeah, you can hear the auto tune's really out of tune, so I have to find it. Okay. It's the arms you saw when you pictured yourself wrapped around. Baby, I can vouch for the hopeless dreamer when you look at me. Okay, so now we have this whole setup. We've got the audio recording properly. Okay, yeah, so I wouldn't normally have the Force this high up, but it's for the sake of showing you. And again, it's pretty simple right now. I'm going to learn more about macros and the XY or the AB and XY pads and all that stuff to add more dynamics, but this is just how to get your project out of Ableton onto the Force for live performance. So yeah, I'm also going to be checking the lyrics every now and then because I'm a cheater. All right, turning it back on. Here we go. This life you chose yourself, just how it ended up. Is that the art you saw when you closed your eyes and dreamed? Children in the grass running through the sprinklers, being somebody's wife. Or were you living in another life? When will I make it home? When I damn well feel like driving down these empty roads, slipping through a birthright. Saw a couple kids holding hands in the street tonight. They reminded me of us in another life. Am I the man of your desire, or just a guy from your hometown? Are these the arms you saw when you pictured yourself wrapped around? Baby, I can vouch for the hopeless dreamer when you look at me. Am I the man you hoped I'd be? When will I make it home? When that jukebox in the corner stops playing country songs of stories that sound like mine? When will I make it home? When I damn well feel like driving down these empty streets, slipping through a birthright. Spent my best years laying rubber on a factory line. I wonder what I would have been Thanks for watching. And yeah, I hope that was informative and it was fun to make. So hope you enjoyed the song. I might put it out somewhere sometime. But yeah, catch you next week. Bye.